All right, everybody, welcome to Virtual Social Skills as we do the virtual learning based on the fact that everybody has to be at home. So we still want you to have social skills instruction. So here is today's social skills lesson for you. Normally this would be in a small group with 3 or 4 students. You guys would be sitting with me at a table. You know the room that we're in. And I would have a whiteboard behind me right now. This is my whiteboard. And we'd be talking about the social skill of the day. So, thank you all for being here. I'm glad that we still get to see each other. It's really important, and it's a nice break from some of the other stuff that you might be doing. And plus, you guys get to see me. How exciting is that? And I get to see you guys too. So the first thing I want you guys to do, and I know you can all see each other, we can all hear each other through the virtual environment. We have Sean and Noah and Ginger, my students today. And what I want you guys to do is just tell me, you can see right here, it says, what is a label? Tell me what you think a label is. What is a label? Where are some places that you see labels? That's right. There's labels on different boxes or on cans. You might notice that I have 3 cans right here. 2 of them have labels, 1 doesn't. Wonder why. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be talking about labels. By the time that we're all done here today, I wanted you guys to realize you guys are going to be stronger. Now, you're not going to be stronger with muscles, but you're going to be stronger in your ability to be respectful with people that you meet, people that you don't know, and learn how to not give them a label. And we'll talk about that. Because there's good things and bad things that can happen when you give somebody a label, right? And we're going to talk about that too. So the first thing that I'll tell you, some of you probably already found this out when we were talking about labels, is that there's more than one definition for the word label, right? We already talked about it can mean like something that's on a can or on a package that tells you what's in it. And that's important. It tells you what's in it. And that's a noun. A noun is a person, place, or thing, right? You remember that from your English classes. The paper that's on the package, that's a label. But label is also a verb. And do you guys remember what a verb is, right? It's an action word. And so when you label something, you're giving it a definition. You're defining, you're saying what it is, what's inside of it. And so you're telling yourself, you're telling other people what that thing is. For example, this desk right here, you can't really see it. I guess I could tilt it down a little bit, maybe. So this desk right here, it's a desk, right? But if I said it's a white desk, I've given it a label. I've now labeled it a white desk, right? So we label things when we see them. You know, that tree outside might be, it's a tree, but if we say that's a tall tree, we've labeled it a tall tree. So if I were to ask you to describe like music class, you might label it as loud or fun, and those are labels. And we do this to people too. So how many of you guys can think of somebody that is funny? You guys all know somebody that's funny? Somebody pops into your head? Right. Or somebody who's quiet. Somebody who's awesome. You guys should all be thinking of somebody. You're actually looking at them, right? You guys are all thinking of me because I'm awesome. I know you were. I know I was thinking about you guys because you guys are awesome. So those are all labels, right? You describe them in your head, and when you see them again, you're like, oh yeah, that person was smart or funny. And we do this to people that we don't know, which is weird, right? Because we don't know them, so how can we actually describe them? But we do that all the time. If you see somebody on the side of the road, and maybe they're dirty and their hair's all messy, you might label them right away and say, oh, you know, that person doesn't have a home or has problems, but you really don't know. So when a new student comes into your class, right, they walk through the door. As soon as they walk through the door, you're already putting labels on them just by how they look, right? What the clothes they're wearing, maybe what their backpack looks like, maybe if they're tall or they're short. You're giving them labels. You're defining them, even though you don't know them yet. But maybe they come from another country, which is actually pretty exciting. But you might give them a label based on that, or maybe they're in a wheelchair and you automatically give them a label, but you still don't know them yet, right? And so you're giving yourself a definition based on those things that you see. And do adults do this too? Yeah, you bet they do. Adults do this all the time. Everybody does it at one point or another. But sometimes the labels that people give each other, they're not very nice, right? They're not very kind. So I want you guys just to talk for a second, talk to each other. You can talk to me. We can all see each other through the video. Talk about some kind or positive labels that you've heard people or that you've given people, and maybe some not so kind, some unkind or some negative labels that you've given people. So some examples of like a positive label would be, helpful. Negative label would be, he's lazy. So think about some other positive or negative ones. Give me some positive ones and give me some negative ones. Right, very good. So you see these 3 cans here on the table, right? You guys see this one right here? What's that label say? Who can read that label? John, can you read that label? Right. It says chocolate syrup. Chocolate syrup, right? You guys can see that? Well, who wants to taste what's in the can? Who wants me to bring this to their house so you can taste what's in this can? Normally we'd be doing this in the classroom, right? And I would just be sitting here and I'd be asking you and you'd be able to taste it. It says chocolate syrup. Everybody want to taste? All right. So I open it up. And normally I would open this up in the classroom, right? But with everything that's going on, I don't want to waste anything. So I open this up. It's actually, if I were to open it up, you'd see there were sliced beets inside. That's gross, right? That's not nearly as good as chocolate syrup. But you had already said that you wanted to taste it. So now you'd have to be tasting sliced beets. You made a decision based off of the label. You didn't know what was inside, but you already decided for yourself that you wanted what was inside. You liked what was inside, right? Because it said chocolate syrup. Just based on the label. Would it have been better for you to wait until I opened it for you to decide whether you wanted it? Yeah, because the label that was given to it was wrong. And sometimes when you label somebody the wrong thing, you don't get to see all the good stuff that's inside, right? And we might be making a huge mistake, just like you did with this can of sliced beets, because you made a mistake. Have you ever done that before? Have you ever given somebody a label and decided something about that person? Yeah, we all do. Did you ever do that and find out that you were wrong about that person? Has anybody ever done that to you? Have they given you a label and that's not really, that's not really how you are inside? And how does it make you feel? Right, yeah, it hurts. Okay. So remember, chocolate syrup, not what's inside. This can, what does that say? Sliced beets. Do you think you know what's in this can? Yeah, you think there's sliced beets in this can? Well, let's open it and find out. It's not sliced beets. This is actually the Hershey syrup. But you would have read the label and said, sliced beets? Gross. I don't want any of that, without looking to see what was inside first. And you would have missed out on some delicious chocolate syrup, because that's really what's inside here. Too bad, because it's really delicious. And you decided that based on just off of the label. You didn't take the time to see what was inside first, right? So we miss out on discovering some really, really enjoyable stuff about people and how they are on the inside when we make decisions just based off of a label. Just like with the can, we made a decision, sliced beets. I don't want to. I don't want to find anything out. I don't want any part of that. But inside was some really good stuff, the chocolate syrup. So sometimes that happens. You'll make judgments. You'll see somebody right away. You'll make a judgment about them, even, and they're great on the inside. And you might not think so just based off of first appearances. We do this with friends, with parents, with teachers. Now here's the third can. I'm already over my time limit. Shoot. Here's the third can. You see what's on that? It's a question mark, right? There's no label on this can. No label. So how do you know whether you want what's inside of it? You have to open it up first, right? You have to take the time first before you make a decision to find out what's inside, and then right? That would be the best choice, wouldn't it? Just to open it up and see what's inside? Yeah. You'd rather wait until I open it, right? So in order to accurately label it, you have to open it. It's the same thing with people, isn't it? You really need to wait until you actually find out what's on the inside before you actually label them, before you define them, before you decide whether you like them or not. You can't just do it. You shouldn't just do it based on what you see or what other people tell you about them. Those are labels. So let's open this can. Then let's decide if you want any of that. And I'll be opening this, and this is apple pie filling. That's delicious. And now that you know what's inside, it's good stuff. It was worth it to open it to find out what's inside, right? Normally, if we were in the classroom, we'd be eating some of this right now. So this is exactly what we should do with people. Just like the can with no label. We shouldn't go based off of what's on the outside, because it might be something that says it's really great. Somebody from your class might seem like they're really, really, really funny or really nice, and you get to spend time with them and you find out maybe they're not so nice. Maybe they're actually not very nice at all. Or the sliced beets. You don't want that just based on the label, but it was really nice on the inside. This was the chocolate syrup. So it's important with people that you take the time to find out what's on the inside. Because when you label somebody, if it's wrong, it can be really hurtful. It's not fair. And if that's ever happened to you, and it's happened to almost everybody, then you know how it feels. You know it's not very nice, right? You want people to take the time to find out what's on the inside. So do you think it'll be better for the people who get labeled not to get labeled? Do you think it's better for the world if we all wait until we find out what's inside each other before we label them? Yeah, that'd be better. So we've already reached the end of our time. Before I let you guys go, I want you guys to each say something positive about each other, give each other a positive label, and then I'll know that you know how to make a difference and how to really pay attention and focus on what's on the inside of people. Okay? All right, and I'll start, just like I'll say, Sean, I'm going to label you as respectful because you were very attentive and you listened well during this virtual lesson, and I appreciate that. So now everybody take turns and say something positive. Give each other a positive label. All right, great. Well, until next time, you guys remember what we talked about here, what a label is. Talk to your brothers and sisters about it. Talk to your parents about it. One thing I will say is don't go taking off all the labels on cans unless you talk to your mom or dad first. Okay? Because that could be very confusing when they go to open up something for dinner. All right, guys. See you again later.